Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and it's time to review Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 9, Vox. It's the penultimate episode of Season 3, and it's really, really good. As one might expect, not perfect. But I'm going to give it a really high score at the end. A surprisingly high score, given that I'm going to be nitpicking. But anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? And let's have a look at this. There we go. Start off, as usual, with the Star Trek Cinematic Universe logo. Now then, what's it going to skip? Is it going to skip a frame, or is it going to skip like 5 seconds? A frame. There we go. Anyway. No, it'll be if I clicked on it, won't it? Yes, a frame. Right, okay. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. Right, so, here we go. We have a recap in a moment. Right, here we go. As you remember, last episode we saw the end of Vadik and the Shrike and her changelings that were with her. But the changeling plan is still ongoing. Are there any changelings left then in Starfleet? There must be, because we saw Tuvok, change. We saw that he was a changeling. So there are still changelings about. Don't know how many. I mean, there were only 9, weren't there, from Daystrom Station. Did they recruit others? Did they find others? Whatever, I don't know. We don't know how many changelings were in the Alpha Quadrant, at the end of the Dominion War. Maybe some, have come through since. I don't know. Through the wormhole. Anyway, whatever. Right, so the changeling plan is still in effect. They've got to get to Earth, and it showed the TNG crew around the table. This is when we're learning about the changelings. I don't like it when they do this. I'll play this, but when they do that, when they change, they don't have to do that, do they? You ready? Look, oh, missed it. Never mind. Go back a bit. Is it doing it? Never mind. They do that, move the head and the change. I thought, you don't need to do that, do you? You can just change. Maybe Odo did it a few times. I don't know. But it's a thing that irks me. I'm nitpicking, I know. Anyway, where were we? So they've got to work out what to do. They've got to get back to Earth. They realise there's something with Jack, his visions, are not to do with Iremodic syndrome, and that the Iremodic syndrome may have been misdiagnosed. It's something to do with something else. We find out what in this episode. Deanna decides she's going to use her empathic abilities, and she must have some mildly telepathic abilities as well, to go into Jack's mind and try and work out what his visions mean. We've got Data back. Yay! We've got Data back. An old Data. And he's good. He's cool. This is showing some of Jack's abilities. It makes people's eyes glow red when he can possess them and take over them. And I'm a bit disappointed in the outcome of this, but we'll get to that. So, Deanna's going to help him. There we go. There's the red door. It gives me vibes. Using red, the red door, and the red vines, and the red eyes. It gives me vibes of J.J. Abrams. I'm sorry. I'm thinking, has J.J. Abrams' collective windled its way into Terry Metallis's team? It makes me think that sometimes. But anyway, so Deanna is helping Jack with his visions, and he doesn't want to open the door. She's trying to work out what the vines mean, or the tendrils. She suggests they're like neurons. Jack says otherwise. He says that he doesn't know their meaning. She says symbols have nothing but meaning. And then it turns out it's a memory of a Crimson Arboretum on Ratacan 5 or something, I don't know, some planet. And where there's like these red blossoms. I don't know what that's got to do with... Oh, that does, it explains it. And he says it was a place that Beverly took him when he was a kid. There we go, the red blossoms all fluttering about, and he thought it was beautiful. But then he found out that there were roots underneath where all these red blossoms were doing all this cool stuff. There were roots underneath, and then that were a connection, and then he starts talking in certain tones, purity and perfection. And I was expecting him to say order, but he doesn't say that. And then so he opens the door. Actually, no, I'm lying. Marina, she says, I'll open the door for you. So she opens the door, sees something, and then we're going to see it now. She's going to open the door. And what she sees snaps her out of... get on with it. They did drag this out a little bit too long, to be honest. By the way, this is like a 47-minute episode, and it goes by like that when you watch it. It really, really does. Apart from this beginning bit, which dragged out a little bit too long for me. There we go. So, I don't know why we didn't twig it with Deanna's hand at the end of the previous episode with them fingernails. Maybe it was a different hand, I can't remember. But she opens the door, and it snaps her out of... her, psychic link with Jack, and she just like says, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then she bloody rushes out, and I'm like, "That's not very professional of you, Deanna," and leaves him in the. This is the counsellor's office, by the way. We find out she just gets up and she buggers off, as we'll see. And up she goes. She says, "I'm sorry," and she just goes out. And he says, "What did you see?" And there we go. As she's going out, so it's rushing out, all flustered. What did you see? The door closes, and we see that it's the counsellor's office. Why did it close on him? It's the thing about Starfleet doors, isn't it? How do they know when to open and when not to open? Sometimes they open when you walk up to them. Sometimes they close when people walk up to them. I don't know. Maybe they're psychic. But they should have added a little bit there of, in my opinion, of Deanna as she's going out saying, "Computer, seal the room." And then that's why the door closed as she exited, and Jack can't get out because it'll tie in with what happens next. Because he's screaming at her, "What did you see?" So she goes to the bridge. Because I'd be saying, why ain't Jack following her? So that's why they've added the computer seal the room bit in. So sorry, Terry. That'd be if I were deducting points this week, that'd be a 0.1 off. Maybe that's a clue as to what score I'm going to give this episode. If I were deducting points. But anyway, so she goes to the bridge. I think it's the bridge. Are they on the bridge? Whatever. And she's telling Picard and all them who was on the bridge what she saw. See, they're in the bridge or in the conference room. I can't remember where she is. I'm not paying much attention. I'm sure she's on the bridge. Let's have a look. I've got to know these things. No, they're not in the... No, is that sick bay? I think she's in sick bay, isn't she? That's sick bay, that, isn't it? But the thing for the holographic doctor, isn't it, that? I do believe. Or whatever that is for the surgical area where they do the operations. Is it a scanning thing? I don't know. I don't know what this is, this blue stuff. It was orange on Voyager, wasn't it? Yellowy orange, but never mind. I'm waffling. But anyway, she goes to see Beverly and Jean-Luc. And she tells them what she saw, and then we saw what she saw. And to be honest, I was disappointed. There we go, that's what she saw. And the voice going, "We are Borg." Cool, eh? I wish I had a sound effect. So it's the Borg in a kind of a lumpy Borg cube. We see some more Borg architecture later on that I don't think were a Borg cube, but it's kind of all surrounded by clouds and mist. So I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest, because I was expecting Par-Wraiths. With all the red eyes and, possessing people, which is what Par-Wraiths do. And these apocalyptic visions, because we'd seen like his apocalyptic visions of like buildings and stuff being destroyed. Very quickly, you had to pause like on it. Which, goes with Par-Wraiths and their, destructive natures. But no, it's the Borg. It was the Borg all along. It was the Borg all along. So I thought they should have made their eyes turn green, shouldn't they, if they were Borg? I know you could say, oh, well, it's symbolic of the red lasers that some of the Borg have. But, I'd have made them green myself, like that. Green's more of a Borgy colour, isn't it? Sorry that the L cars caught my attention. So there we go, so it's the Borg. Somehow the Borg in Jack. And you can communicate with them, and then we see the title of the episode, Part 9, Vox, with a little thing over it. So how do you pronounce it there? Vox. Which obviously is Latin for voice, or the voice, or whatever. I don't know. So there we go. As I said last week, Vox has been used in Star Trek episodes before, most notably Vox Solar. I'm sure it's been used elsewhere as well, but I can't remember. So, as I said, it means voice. As in the Borg voice. Right, so here we go. Picard's not happy about that. He doesn't believe it. It starts off with hearing the voice of I am Locutus of Borg and all that. He's remembering that. And what he did as Locutus, and they're all wondering how this has happened. And they said, there shouldn't be any. There's no trace of the Borg left in Picard's body, which is obviously why they needed Picard's original body, because that's the one that was assimilated by the Borg. But Beverly deduces that the Borg somehow implanted something into Picard, the original Picard, not this one. Remember, this Picard's a robot, and he gets called that in this episode. He gets called a robot. The original Picard, the Borg implanted some organic technology so they could communicate with him, which is why he could still hear the voices of the Borg, the collective. As we saw in Star Trek First Contact, he could hear the voices of the Borg. So anyway, Deanna decides, as from now on, Jack is dangerous. But she just rushed out of the room, didn't she? And she says that, there's what's the word now? I forgot the word. My brain stopped working again. There's things they must do. Procedures, that's the word I'm looking for. There's procedures that they're supposed to follow. So anyway, he's going to speak to Jack, is Picard. So he goes to talk to Jack. In a moment. There we go. We see Jack. I don't think that's not the counsellor's office now, is it? He's back in his quarters by the looks of it. I don't know why he didn't follow her. If he were so bothered, he'd have followed her, wouldn't he? He just goes back to his quarters. This should have been the counsellor's office, in my opinion. He should have been locked in there. But never mind. Anyway, Picard goes to see Jack and tries to explain to him what's happening. And he explains about what happened to him 35 years earlier. He was assimilated by the Borg. And obviously they've done something to him. And he passed it on to Jack. And that's why he's getting the visions. Because of what Jack can do, his abilities, that makes him a threat, basically. And what they've got to do for everybody. And Jack gets a bit selfish here, to be honest. He doesn't seem to realise that, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. So he gets a bit uppity in this episode, does Jack. So anyway, Picard says, well, there's a place we can send you. We can take you to Vulcan. There's a research centre. And then Jack knows of this. I forgot what it's called. It begins with a K. I can't remember. He says, no, it's not a research centre. That's an institution. So they're basically sending him to an asylum. But it's where it'll be safe there. But obviously he doesn't want to go there. And Picard tries to talk him round. But Jack doesn't want anything of it. And he's going to leave. So he says, I'm out of here. I says, acting a bit precautiously, if you ask me. But anyway, he's not happy about it. What's going on? So when he tries to leave, then we see there's some guards at the door. And we've got a couple of ensigns. But then Jack decides he's going to leave anyway. So he possesses these two ensigns. He obviously can possess multiple people at once. And they do his bidding. And let him walk out, and they stop Beverly. Beverly said, Jack, you can't do this. And he says, where are you going? He says, I'm going home. He obviously thinks he's a Borg. So off he goes. They're stopping Beverly. He's going by himself. He gets to a shuttle. There we go. He leaves turns off the transponder and leaves the Titan, which, as we see there, as you can just see, it's part of its nacelle there, is uncloaked for some reason. I don't know why. Because at the end of the last episode, we saw the Titan cloak, didn't we? Which I thought, cool, they're going to sneak in to the Frontier Day stuff that's going on, under cloak, and they won't be detected. I'll prove to you that they did, because this is the clip from the previous episode of the Titan. Cloaking, there it goes. There. Why isn't it cloaked now? Maybe it broke down. I don't know, but it doesn't reference it. So that's another 0.1 off, or it would be. Another nitpick. So anyway, off he goes to wherever he's going. He goes searching. There's off to warp, and I don't like the warp effect. But anyway, and that's not so bad. That's like the going into warp. But when they're at warp, I don't like it. It's too hyperspacey. And in this scene here, they've just watched him go. He's escaped. Beverly, she's lamenting that she gave him. She watched him too closely. She says with Wesley, she allowed him space and she lost him to it, because obviously he went off with a traveller, didn't he? And he's now a traveller doing his stuff. And with Jack, she says she watched him closely. She's thinking, did she watch him too closely? Why didn't she see this happening? And obviously it's not her fault. Nobody could have predicted this. So Picard's obviously upset, and Data comes and says, would you like me to speak some words of comfort? And he calls him Captain, by the way. And I thought, oh, that's a mistake. But then I thought, hang on, this Data, I think he said in the last episode or the one before, his last memory, pardon me, was aboard the Scimitar, from Star Trek Nemesis. And Jean-Luc was a captain then, wasn't he? He was Captain Picard then. So maybe that's why he calls him Captain and not Admiral. But he says, can I speak you some words of comfort? And Picard says, that might be impossible. And he says, I know. His voice breaks. Remember, he's got emotions and stuff now. So he does the next best thing. And he puts a hand on Picard's shoulder. Picard smiles and does that. And then, it set me off. It set me off. More than once in this episode has set me off. So there might be a bit of lip quivering going on as I do this review. So anyway, Jack's shuttle comes out of warp and he's looking for what he's supposed to be looking for. He presumes he's looking for the Borg or something. Computer detects an anomaly. It looks like he's in a nebula, by the way, a red nebula. And computer detects an anomaly, tachyons and stuff like that, and he says, is it a wormhole? And the computer says, no, it's a transwarp conduit. So here we go, there we see the oh, Pete's sake. Oh, for crying out loud. Has it gone too far now? Look, move tiny little bits and it like moves it. There we go. There we go. The Borg have arrived. A funny looking Borg with all that sticky outy bits. And we see bits of it later. It's more like a Borg buildings, It doesn't look like a cube. So there's some sort of Borg facility in this nebula. If it is a nebula, it looks like a nebula, doesn't it? It looks more like clouds, don't they? But anyway. But it is the Borg. Maybe it's a Unimatrix or whatever. Right, so there we go. Back on the Titan. Geordie does one of his cool Geordie PowerPoint briefings with his ace voice, working out. They've worked out that the Borg did leave something inside Jean-Luc's body that they couldn't detect 35 years ago, which is why they thought it was Iremodic syndrome. But obviously now they know it's there. But he also found something else curious. He found how was that later? They found that they'd taken parts of his DNA and used it. And what they found, if I can get to it, was that this bit or was that later? No, there we go. They found they'd taken parts of Jean-Luc's DNA that act as like receivers, which is why I could hear the voices of the Borg. They act as receivers of Borg signals. But Jack, his Borg parts, transmitters, and that's what that shows. We see that at the end in the end credits, don't we? So that's Jack's transmitting, which is why he can take over people. So I know it's a bit of a long shot, but that's why I can control people, because he's transmitting the Borg signals, and they don't understand. They still don't understand how he could control. The ensigns, as Picard says. How could he control those 2 ensigns? They were never assimilated, and Worf says, "We don't know that yet," in his Yorkshire accent. So that's still a mystery. Data looking a bit angry there, a bit lawish, isn't it? Never mind. Let me move this over a bit. Too many people hiding behind my head. I'm using the wrong one now, aren't I? Where are we? There we go. Move you over a little bit. There you go. So that's another mystery that they've got. That why? How can Jack control some people and not others? Some people that apparently have not been assimilated. They've got to get to Earth now. So they find out that almost all of Starfleet is going to be at Earth for the Frontier Day celebrations. And there's a thing with all the ships, and everybody gets a starship. There's lots of familiar names in these ships, from characters from the series, and backstage people. There's a USS Drexler and a USS Okuda. You also see the USS Hikaru Sulu. You also see a USS Excelsior later that isn't NCC 2000. Dash A, B, C, whatever. It's got another number. So how come the Titan gets an A and the Excelsior doesn't? But never mind. And we'll see a Ross, USS Ross, which I'm guessing is named after Admiral Ross from Deep Space Nine, probably, maybe. And Beverly deduces that the Changelings and the Borg have been working together the whole time, for this Frontier Day celebration. So they've got to get to Earth. Yeah, so Picard gets in touch with Shaw, says they need to get to the Sol system as soon as possible. And Shaw says, with virtually every starship is going to be there with our pictures pinned to their dartboard. They're going to open fire on it, they're going to destroy us. And says, well, we need to go there anyway. And Shaw says, of course we do. So they set off. Off they go. And then we cut to... there we see some of the ships. We've got USS Appalachia, USS Ganymede, USS Callisto, USS Venture, USS Akira, USS Drexler there. Can you see it there? What else we got? Sure, I've seen the Akuda somewhere. There's USS Akuda. Oh, you just see it there. Yeah. USS Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, a king at Uruk. The USS Sutherland. I wonder if that's the same one that Data... You can't see, it's behind my head. But is that the one that Data was in command of briefly during the episodes? Was it Redemption? That episode, Redemption. When they did the tachyon detection grid. And with some others. The USS Ross, Oberon, and some others. Reliant there. Look, USS Reliant. Yay! USS Gagarin, which of course we saw in Discovery, didn't we? An old version of the Gagarin, and some others that I can't make out the names of. USS Clark, probably from Lewis and Clark. Blah blah blah. Right. Anyway, so I think we're going to get a bit of a dissolve now into actual space dock. Oh, hang on, I forgot to mute it. We're going to see it dissolve. Yes, we are dissolving to space dock. Look, look at all them ships gathered. But as we watch, they start going into formation and like some weird shapes. I don't know if it's. I presume it's got meaning, but as we'll see. But anyway, as we see, we're going up on space dock here, and the Enterprise F enters stage centre under the command of Admiral Shelby. So here we're going to see the Enterprise F, the Odyssey class Enterprise F, come out. There it comes out, all spectacularly out of space dock. And it comes, all fireworks going off around it. Cool. Then we go over there, we see Admiral Shelby, and I was thinking, is that the Shelby from Best of Both Worlds? Was Commander Shelby at the time, now she's an Admiral, which probably irks, well, maybe not, I don't know, but Riker's still a captain, isn't he? Because they kind of butted heads, didn't they? But she's obviously risen up the ranks more, and she's an Admiral. But, you know, he probably wanted to stay a captain, didn't he? Didn't want to be stuck behind a desk, as I imagine most admirals are, but not Admiral Shelby. She's in command here of the Enterprise F, probably just as a ceremonial thing. She's probably not the actual captain. I wonder who the actual captain of the Enterprise F is. But anyway, she comes out. She does a little speech about the NX-01. Enterprise NX-01 was the first Warp 5 starship that started exploring space properly, and so because of their that crew's heroics, it led to the formation of Starfleet. I thought, and I'm thinking, hang on, no, if you watch Enterprise, Starfleet were around. It was called Starfleet in Enterprise. I know in the original series there was United Earth Space Probe Agency, wasn't there? That were kind of like the forerunner to Starfleet, but I don't know. But it was Starfleet. It led to the formation of the United Federation of Planets, didn't it? There was like the alliance, wasn't there, of what am I doing? The alliance of worlds that led to the formation of the Federation. But anyway, she says it led to the formation of Starfleet, and it's all exciting. And there we go. But then there she is, Elizabeth Dennehy. I think she's the daughter of Brian Dennehy. I could be wrong, but I think she is. But it's nice to see her. It's nice to see these cameos from Star Trek TNG alumni. But off it goes, and then we see the Titan arrive, or is it on its way? The Titan's on its way. Oh, then we're back with Jack, seeing this weird Borg architecture. Let's say all spiky bits on. Are they transmitters? Because we see something happen. I presume it's deep within this Borg facility later on. So are these transmitters? The Borg send a signal. Spoilers. Here we go. Jack beams aboard. We notice here, for some reason, I don't know why, this is another thing that's irked me. Why has it got like a vintage phaser? It looks like a 23rd century phaser. I know it's got shiny lights and stuff on it. It's probably maybe upgraded, but it just looks like a TOS era phaser, doesn't it? I mean, it could be argued that it's not. It just looks like one, but, why don't they have a TNG era phaser? And the thing with the phasers in this series, I know we've seen Worf with a phaser that fires a beam, but there's too many pew-pew phasers. I'm not bothered with the phaser rifles firing a bolt, a bolt of energy. But you want to see the hand phasers doing... That's what we want, don't we? Not pew-pews. Anyway, that's another nitpick, another 0.1 off, if I were deducting points. Anyway, so he arrives and he's hearing a voice, and the voice that we hear, it starts out, I think it's Beverly's voice, then it changes into another voice, and it's a voice that we recognise. But anyway, here's the Titan at warp. Don't like it. It's too hyperspacey. Just do the streaks of the stars, what they call Doppler distorted streaks. Not this nonsense. So they're on the way to Earth. She's still doing her speech. We learn that they've got a new thing now as Starfleet, which sounds stupid. But here, all the ships are forming up. There they go. Look, all the ships are forming up. They've got a new thing now. I mean, this is dumb. Where they can, I think they call it the Starfleet formation or something like that, where all the ships are connected and they all act as one. You think, well, that's stupid for a start. Because, what it leads to is like disaster, as we'll see. But all the ships in this fleet that's around Earth now start acting as one. As like a collective. Hint, hint. But she's saying, it'll help strengthen Starfleet. And you think, oh, for God's sake. No, it won't. But she seems very smug and very happy with herself. There's Admiral Shelby, and he's looking and saying, you know, and they realise, you know, this is stupid of them, you know, and they're thinking, why would she come up with something like this, such a Borg-like procedure? Because if you remember, she was the one in. She was like the expert on the Borg in Best of Both Worlds and how to fight them. Now she's developed a system that is kind of similar to the Borg. Anyway, they're an hour away, and then I think Geordie calls them down to engineering or whatever he is in a moment. But here we see Jack moving through the Borg facility, and it's the Borg Queen's talking to him. And it's the voice of Alice Krieger. They've got her back as the Borg Queen. We don't actually see her. We see her from behind, the Borg Queen, but we don't see her face. Here we go. He enters the chamber, and she's saying to him that you know, he's important to her, and you know, she's his child. She's talking about all the names she's thought of giving him, like Resurrectati. And some other stuff, and some other stuff in Latin. And he says, "Oh, you got a penchant for Latin, have you?" And she says, "But the name I have chosen for him is like they gave Locutus a name, which means the one who speaks or something like that." The name they've given Jack is Vox, the name of the episode, which is the voice. So he's going to become the voice of the Borg. But then Jack is confronted by the Borg Queen, who we don't see from the front, and he says he's going to shoot her. So he's trying to shoot her, and she says, "If you were going to kill me, you would have done it already." So he just shouts and lowers his phaser. He can't kill her, and then there we go. We see her from behind, but we don't see her from the front. There we go. But as we're looking, all these Borg tubes start coming behind. I mean, if this had gone round and we'd have seen Girardi from season 2, I'd have booked a plane ticket, gone over to Los Angeles and punched Terry Metalis in the face. But thankfully that doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen in episode 10, or I'm going to be out of pocket. But anyway, so he's going to be a Borg. He kind of seems to give up here. Like, he looks angry there, lowers his phaser. But then all the go on. There you go. All the Borg tentacles come out, and then they go and stick in him. As we see, he's got tears in his eyes, much as Jean-Luc had. I can't see that. Hang on, move that over a bit. You see that? Can't see it for my fat head. Let me get rid of myself. There you go. And as we're watching it, it's a bloody bone. God, I'm such a professional, aren't I? There you go. And in it goes. It doesn't even flinch. It doesn't even flinch. Anyway, let's move that back over there a little bit and get me back on. Why would you want to see me when I'm there? So there we go. So it looks like Jack is now fully assimilated into the Borg collective, although he's not happy about it. So what's going to happen now? Right, so Geordie's called Picard and that down, I think. But he's found out that they found something that the Borg have done. The Borg have modified the DNA of Jean-Luc Picard, and they've changed it into like a transporter signal, and they don't know why. And Beverly asks the computer to cross-reference, this pattern that we see here with the Titan's transporter system, and the computer says, yes, this is a transporter, I don't know, what's the word, subroutine or whatever, part of the transporter architecture. That's it. That's what they call it. So it's a part of the transporter system now that somehow the Borg have embedded Jean-Luc Picard's Borgy code into the transporter, and they don't know why. But then they realise that they've been slowly assimilating Starfleet officers for a long time now. Every time somebody uses a transporter, they get this little bit of Picard Borg data, sort of like implanted into their DNA every time the transporter's used. So basically, and because transporters are used pretty much everywhere now, which would probably explain why the changelings didn't like using transporters, although we did see them using them. But Vadik didn't like using them. But there we go, we've seen its transporter code, and basically pretty much everybody now in Starfleet has got this Borg inside them, even though they don't know about it. And then it turns out that it only affects, because it's something to do with the parietal lobe or something, some lobe of the brain that stops growing when you're older than 25. So it'd only affect those younger than 25, which is why Jack can only control young people under 25. So they're thinking, oh crikey, that's a bit of a downer. So they've got they've got that to contend with now. Basically, Starfleet has been assimilated by the Borg, and they don't even know it. Here we go. The Titan arrives at space dock, and the fireworks are still going off. There you go. The Starfleet ships have formed into these weird patterns. Looks like a circle. Is it some sort of Borg shape? I don't know without looking up Borg interfaces. Is it like Borg text? I don't know. Or is it just a cool formation? I don't know. But they stick with this formation. Anyway, they sends a message. The ship trying to take the ship into the Starfleet formation. The ship systems trying to be taken over. So Picard gets in touch with Admiral Shelby and tells her that the changelings they're trying to take over and assimilate Starfleet, and it's to do with the Borg and all that. And no. And she doesn't know what to believe. But then they lose communications, and all hell breaks loose suddenly. There we go. All hell's breaking loose. They're losing the ship, and there we go. Fleet formation mode. They see the ship has been taken over, and then all this green comes over. Remember green for the Borg? Why don't their eyes turn green? They should do. Never mind. And 7 of 9 goes, as we hear this signal noise, and she says it's a Borg signal. So there you go. And then it cuts. Have I missed it? I might have gone past it. It shows that the Borg. See, I might have gone past it. So trying to find the certain bits is tricky. It's tricky. It might be in a minute. There's Alandra Laforge, sorry. This is where they're working out that it's just young people that will be affected. And then we see the Borg, the ship. Shaw realises he's losing his ship. He says, what's happening to my ship? And says to Muir, get us out of here or whatever. But Muir's not answering. And then as we move round on him, we see that he's been assimilated. As there you go. His eyes turn black and he starts going all like that. Kind of reminded me of when Jurati were taking over people in season 2, which wasn't good. So we see that all the young people, remember it's all the people under 25 in Starfleet now, are being assimilated by the Borg. They're being turned into drones, basically. And along with Sydney Laforge, she gets changed as well. She turns round and says, we are the Borg. Geordie's not happy. He says, where's Alandra? I keep calling her Alandra. Where's Alandra? And it turns out she's been assimilated as well. There she is. We see her, look. She's changing as well. So all the young uns are all being changed into Borg drones. Here we go. Shelby managed to get a signal through. He says, "What's going on? All hell's breaking loose, and they're all turning on us." And then she gets, as we see, a young, an officer comes up to her. We hear the sounds of phaser fire going on. Pew pew phaser fire, not proper phaser fire. Here we go. Officer comes up. Oh, two of them do, actually. First time I noticed that. I've watched it twice. She gets shot twice. By these officers. So is she dead now? Presume so. Because they start saying, all, what is it, non-assimilated, must be destroyed. So basically the fleet has been taken over. Here we go, start turning on them. And this one here, that's raising his phaser, or her phaser, and 7 of 9 takes them out. And so we've got to get out of here, and so they start stunning the others. And Geordie's got to save me, girls. And Data says to him, "No, Geordie, there's nothing you can do. We've got to have a plan." So they work out what they've got to do, or they try and work out what they've got to do. What's this? Oh, this is I forgot her name now. Esma. This is Ensign Esma. I don't know why she seems to be in charge, but she takes the captain's seat and says, "Collective, we have the Titan." So they're all basically nearly all of Starfleet now is part of the Borg Collective, and we cut to the turbo lift, and they realise. Because they haven't been told yet, I don't think, by Beverly and Geordie about that it's the young people that have been assimilated and turned into Borg. And Seven kind of surmises it, says, "Why aren't we affected?" And said, "Well, judging by all the grey hair, it must have skipped a generation." So it's been amusing. So they've got to work out what to do, and then they get over the comms. Oh, wow, they go to another deck, and then they open it up, and a fight's going on, and so they're being turned, and all the crew. So they close the doors and they head for deck 11, and then they get a signal through from the USS Excelsior. Here we go. There we go, the Excelsior. They've managed to regain control of the bridge of, I presume, the older officers, but then all the others around start to target the Excelsior, because all non-assimilated must be destroyed. And then we see the USS Hikaru Sulu, the USS Cochrane, the Excelsior, the Venture, the Drexler, the Akuda. You get a starship, you get a starship, and you get a starship. The USS Venture, the USS Firesword, that's a cool name. The Ross, the Clark, the Oberon, the Resnick and Mandel. The USS Trumbull, yay! After Doug Trumbull, obviously. Special effects genius. Anyway, they all target the Excelsior. We don't actually see it. They do like they used to show in, TNG and Deep Space Nine. Quite often, you didn't see space battles. You just saw it on the screen with symbols, disappearing. But that's what we see here. They all target the Excelsior, and it gets destroyed. Well, there you go. Pew pew pew. Presume those photon torpedoes heading towards it. So that's the end of the Excelsior. Don't know what class it was, doesn't say, but it's not NCC 2000 with a prefix, with a suffix. And the captain of the Excelsior had said we're on the emergency on a channel 99, Delta 99 or something, I can't remember. And Shaw says, "Oh, that's a maintenance channel, communications channel. Why they need a separate channel, I don't know." But that so for some reason the Borg aren't affecting the maintenance systems. I don't know why, but they're not. So they decided to go to the maintenance deck. I didn't even know there were a maintenance deck. Why would there be a maintenance deck? I had no idea. Surely every deck has maintenance, access. That's what Jeffrey's tubes are for, isn't it? For maintenance. But here we have an entire maintenance deck. Which is on the same deck, it seems, as the main shuttle bay. But anyway. So they head for there, and And Picard gets on his communicator, says, "Whoever can hear me, head for the maintenance deck." He presumes he's speaking to, the good guys. Thankfully he is. So they head there. And what's happening here now? Is this the fleet targeting... in a minute. They're going to target Space Dock in a moment. I think they're saying, Starfleet is Borg now. That's what we're hearing there. Still in this weird formation. I don't know. It must be something to do with the Borg. It must be. So they arrive at the maintenance deck, whatever that is, and Beverly and all them are there already, and Geordie and Data and Worf and Raffi. She's arrived. I don't know where she was. Where was she? Was she on the bridge with them? Or was she with what? I don't know where she was, to be honest. But she's appeared anyway. Oh, and Deanna. So they got to get through to the shuttle bay, because apparently the shuttles aren't affected, because the shuttles are autonomous. So the shuttles aren't affected for some reason. So they get a shuttle and to get off the ship, and but then they get ambushed by the Borg crew, who start shooting at them. Geordie and Data get into the shuttle, and Data says something like, they'll destroy us as soon as we launch, and Geordie says, "Can't you be more positive?" He says, "Well, I hope we die quickly," and then smiles, which were amusing. That made me laugh. That bit. There we go. I hope we die quickly. Smile. Meanwhile, all hell's breaking loose in that corridor. They're all shooting. Shaw tells them to go, so they all head towards the shuttle. But then Shaw gets shot, as we'll see in a minute. See Beverly and Riker and Picard, they head out. There we go. And I think Worf goes, I think. But then Shaw gets shot. Oh, there we go. He gone too far, because I'm an idiot. There you go. Shaw gets shot, and Seven goes to help him. And they tell the others to go. And 7 of 9 and Raffi remain. Because they're not the original TNG crew, are they? Clue. But all the TNG ensemble, they get away, but Raffi and 7 of 9 remain. Finish off the Borg crew, and she goes to Shaw, who's moaning, and says, "Don't worry, Captain, you're going to make it." And he says, "No." He said, "The ship's not mine anymore." And this set me off as well. He says, "You have the con, 7 of 9. Oh, God. And I've never been a fan of the Shaw character. People have raved about him. I've never been a fan of him. It's been a bit too abrasive for me. But I must admit, in this bit, I did tear up, because this is the end of Captain Liam Shaw. He passes away here. Gives 7 his ship, says, "You have the con, 7 of 9. Doesn't call her Commander Hansen, calls her by her name that she wants, 7 of 9. You'd think he'd be even more against the Borg now, wouldn't you? But never mind. Because they've taken over his ship, for crying out loud. But there we go. So we know now that 7 of 9 is now, officially in command of the Titan, even though it's the Borg that's running it. So they remain, and the shuttle escapes. Here it goes. In a minute. There we go. So they get out, and it shows the shuttle leaving. Oh, I think I've just missed it, but it shows the. I think we see the shuttle bay doors and the Titan closing. Maybe the bloody no. But then the shuttle's escaped. It goes to warp straight away, and then we pull back, and we hear the voice. We hear the Borg targeting targeting space dock, and then saying, disable Earth's defences or planetary defences, or something along those lines. There we go. There we see the mast now Borg fleet of Starfleet ships bearing down on space dock. So is that going to be destroyed? We will see, in this weird shape that I'm sure it means something. Anyway, the shuttle comes out of warp, and I still don't like the way they come out of warp. They just come out of warp to a dead stop, more or less. I don't like it. Usually we see the flash, don't we, in the distance, and then the ship sort of like glides out. That's what we like to see. That's the, a romantic way to come out of warp, not a. We like to see come and beauty passes and all that. But anyway, whatever. The shuttle comes out of warp, and we're at Athen Prime, the Fleet Museum. With all the old ships, where they've got the cloaking device from the HMS Bounty, the Klingon bird of prey, which for some reason the Titan wasn't used in this episode, but it was used at the end of the last episode, as I have shown you. I'll show you again. The Titan cloaking. Why it wasn't cloaked this episode, we'll never know, because they don't even mention it. Anyway, they arrive at Athen Prime, and they say, will one of these ships help us? Will one of these old ships help us? And Geordie says this was going to be a surprise, but there's no time like the present, so they go up to Hangar Bay 12, as we see. As Hangar Bay 12 opens up. Oh, for God's sake. There we go. And as we see what's inside, the lights start coming on. There we go. USS Enterprise, NCC 1701D. Yay, the Galaxy class USS Enterprise. And you might be thinking, hang on, that blew up. And the saucer section crashed on Viridian 3. So Geordie explains that he's been rebuilding her for a while. The saucer section was recovered from Viridian 3 thanks to the Prime Directive. Because although I think Viridian 3 were uninhabited, was it Viridian 4 or Viridian 2? One of the other planets did have a pre-warp civilization, so they didn't want to contaminate that system. So the Enterprise D saucer section was recovered from Viridian 3, and the engineering section is from the USS Syracuse, apparently. So there we go. I don't know what happened to the Syracuse. Did that lose its saucer section? I don't know. But so that's what they've attached. I presume he'll have painted on USS Enterprise onto the engineering hull. But there we go. Anyway, so the Enterprise D is back together. And Geordie says, obviously we couldn't use the Enterprise E. And then Worf looks and says, that wasn't my fault. So presuming he was in command of the Enterprise E at one point. And something happened to it. I don't know what. Maybe you experts out there know the history, but I don't. But it wasn't Worf's fault. So anyway, so in they go. Data says, "Oh, I am feeling." And Deanna says, "Yes, we know. We're all feeling the same." So they're going back home. So anyway, so we enter the bridge. We don't see any other part of it yet. I suspect they've only built the bridge set. But there we go. We see the bridge light up. All the panels are lighting up. It's all cool. There we see the plaque, USS Enterprise. There we go. They're back home on the bridge of the USS Enterprise D. I'm presuming Geordie's done quite a bit of automation, like Scotty did in Star Trek 3. Where he did a lot of automation for the original Enterprise, or the refit Constitution class Enterprise, so that a trainee and 3 monkeys could operate it. I presume he's done the same with the Enterprise D, which is a hell of a bigger ship. But anyway, so they're all happy, getting all nostalgic. Riker says, "Does it seem smaller, or am I bigger?" And Picard quips that the one thing he's missed is the carpet. People have been mentioning, haven't they, about the carpet all season. Not in the episode, I'm on about in reviews and stuff. Saying they missed the night on the Titan, there didn't seem to be any deck carpeting. And so that's what he's missed. So then Picard takes command. He says, computer, initiate reactivation systems. And the computer says, in Majel Barrett's voice, yay! USS Enterprise now in command of Captain Jean-Luc Picard. And Picard says, well, I'll take a field demotion. So he's now a captain again. By the way, we noticed that Worf there, he's captain. The captain got 4 pips, so he's Captain Worf. So we've got Captain Worf, Captain Picard, and Captain Riker on the ship. Anyway. And he quips here that he preferred the tactical systems on the Enterprise E. And Deanna says, Worf! And then he says, it's perfect, Geordie. So they're all happy. Oh, this is where he talks about the carpet. Smiles, got to go save. And Picard says, I can't ask all of you to go through this with me. And Riker says, we're the crew of the USS Enterprise. We're with you all the way. And, not only that, we're your family. So that set me off again. And so the ship comes online. Oh, by the way, Geordie says to Worf, I've got drones loading torpedoes as we speak. I'm like, why would the Fleet Museum have weapon systems? You'd think all the ships would be disarmed, wouldn't you? It's a museum, for Christ's sake. But no, it's loading it with torpedoes. I presume the phaser banks are being charged as well. But, and Data, he touches his chair, his operations console chair, and he says, hello, chair. And then he says to Geordie, how can we be sure that the Borg can't access these systems? And he says, no, this is separate. This is the only ship in the fleet that that can't be controlled. I don't know why, but it can't, because it's not part of that Starfleet formation code thing. But anyway, they did. Geordie mentioned it earlier as being analogue. Well, no, the Enterprise D is not analogue, is it? I suppose the closest to ship to be analogue would be the Voyager, wouldn't it, with its organic components, its gel packs and all that. That's more close to being analogue, isn't it? But never mind. Anyways, that's where he's saying we're family. So they sit down and they get underway. And they head for Sector 001. Here we see the Enterprise D coming to life. There we go. Yay. So, anyway, all systems are ready. And Picard says, engage. He sits in his chair, actually does the Picard manoeuvre, sits down and pulls his top down, the Picard manoeuvre, and says, engage. And the Enterprise glides out. I was saying that. There we go, that's where he did his little thing. The Enterprise D glides out of Athen Prime Space Dock. Good job Starfleet hadn't sent any other ships there, did it, to guard it? But, never mind. I mean, there was some ships there, weren't there? They must have buggered off, when the Titan were there earlier. Anyway. And then, here we go, I just want to watch the Enterprise D going to warp. There we go. That's the end of that episode. Directed by Terry Matalas, as we'll see in a minute. There we go. Directed by Terry Matalas, as is the last episode. A very, 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 very good episode. I really enjoyed it. It hit the feels. I didn't like the beginning bit. We found out it was the Borg. I'm still disappointed in that, and I should take points off, but I'm not gonna because of the Enterprise D. People have said it were going to come back at the Enterprise D. And, I wasn't really sure because of, it was destroyed, wasn't it, basically? Well, most of it was, apart from the saucer section. But they've explained it, it's from another ship. So, but yes, it's nice to see. And by the way, the music was slightly different. It showed the first contact theme from showing through this, but then when it hits the regular credits, these credits, it does like a slightly different version of the Next Generation theme, which was nice. But yeah, really good episode. It went by in no time at all. I've watched it twice now. It whips by in no time. So 47 minutes. I was thinking, is this a short episode? When it ended, I had to check. I thought, is this like a 30-minute episode or something? And I looked and no, it's 47 minutes. Like pretty much the same as all the others. I say it zips by in no time at all. What's Jack going to do with one episode left? Which is called, is it The Last Generation? So with that one episode left to go, and what's going to happen is Jack going to, he's going to betray him, innit? He's going to do like Data did. He's got to, hasn't he? He's got to do like Data did in First Contact. He's got to lull the Borg Queen into a false sense of security, then turn on and switch all the Borg off and save everybody. That's what he's got to do, hasn't he? That's what I reckon. Or is he going to sacrifice himself in the process? Because I didn't think Shaw were going to die. I suspected he might, but I didn't think he was going to. Even get a nice pause on the Enterprise F. I mean, speaking of the Enterprise F, oh, for God's sake. Not the Borg. Oh, we'll stay with that. Speaking of the Enterprise F, there were like some promotional stuff released, weren't there, beforehand, saying the Enterprise F were going back to Earth to be decommissioned. But it didn't look like it there, did it? But never mind. It seemed to be like the main, the flagship, wasn't it, of the celebrations, Frontier Day celebrations. But anyway, we'll see what happens in the next episode, the finale. If you're in America, you can go and see an IMAX. Is it 10 cities are doing IMAX screenings. That'll be cool. But won't it chop off the ends? Because it's filmed in a cinematic aspect ratio, isn't it? And IMAX is like 16:9, isn't it, usually? So won't it chop off the ends if you see it in IMAX? Anyway. But yeah, looking forward to it. Loved this episode. As I said, I was disappointed with it being the Borg. I wanted it to be Pirates. And so did he. He did as well. He's thinking, I thought it was going to be Pirates, not Borg. But no, it won't. It's the Borg. So how are they going to save all these young ones? And are all the old ones now dead? Have they slaughtered all the old officers? You'd think so, wouldn't you? You would think so. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I know I've nitpicked, and I said, normally I would deduct points. I might have given it like a 9 out of 10. I'd be deducting 0.1 for each of my little nitpicks. So I might have given it a 9 out of 10. But just for seeing the Enterprise D, which has always been my favourite, I do like the Constitution refit, but the Enterprise D has a place in my heart, and it was cool seeing it, and I'm going to see if I can find it again. Come on, show us it. There, look at that. Look at that. The Enterprise D. Is that with a Romulan? Oh, you can't see it. There's a Romulan bird of prey behind it. I think it is, isn't it? Oh no, it might be it's the Enterprise NX-01, I think. Could be, or it could be an older one. I don't know. It's got round warp nacelles anyway. Not that you can see it. Hang on, I'll show you. I'm using the wrong thing again, aren't I? I think. Yes, I am. God, I'm stupid. There we go. There. There we go. Yeah, that. I don't know. It's not the Enterprise NX-01, is it? Because I thought that was the upgraded version. Refit. But it's got round nacelles. It's not a Romulan bird of prey, is it? Could be. Could be. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. So, yes, excellent episode. Loved it. I did shed a tear at the death of Shaw, even though I didn't like the character, but he did hand the ship back to 7 of 9 and called her that. Maybe it's not the end that we'll see of him. But, you know, the Borg have taken over Starfleet. And all the older, over 25. It's basically a they should have said 30, shouldn't they? Starfleet has become Club 1830. But it's become Club 1825, hasn't it now? So all the old ones that were on those ships at least slaughtered. Probably. So, you know, a lot of people are dead. We will see what happens in the final episode next week. They should have shown it as a double one, as a feature-length finale, shouldn't they? Because I can't wait. But right, we'll leave it there. So, I'll get rid of it now. Right, so, thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.